Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Tech Tok.
I'm Roy for the
And
tech.
I'm Earl for the talk.
Okay, so we're now on our 8th episode. Woohoo, go us.
Go us.
In the middle of the 11th month. You know what that means? We're 8 in and we're still going.
Yeah, happy
Oh,
8th
yeah.
episode, everyone. And this time, it's all about friendship and some tips on working in a pandemic on the side. Wink, wink.
And we only have a month to go before Christmas. So, get those Chan albums. Come on.
Yup.
I know you
Yep,
do.
of course, everyone knows Jose Marichan, dude. He's a national treasure.
I mean, get those CD discs.
Oh, you
going.
mean the ones
I
that
have a CD.
yung usually-
I have an album.
Yeah, usually yung
I have a CD album.
mga usually kasama yung binablast tuwing Christmas party. Yeah, dude, like, you cannot have a Christmas party.
Whenever I see.
You cannot have a Christmas party.
Whenever I see.
Alright,
girls and
so
boys.
I think you should know by now, Roy, na kapag sa Pinas, September pa lang, Pasko na. Di ba? Like,
Bare months
yep,
guy.
we're-
Bare months
we're-
guy.
it's
Come
all-
on.
it's like-
Bare months guy.
it's like 3 months before Christmas. It's already Christmas, dude. It's just how things are. You know, when October ends, people start immediately screaming, Pasko na! Pasko na.
Pasko na.
Alright, Roy.
Pasko na.
So, about-
It's September for the Christmas songs.
Yeah.
Past October, it's time for the actual celebs to come in.
Yep, it's time for those decorations to come in. So, since it's Burr months, Roy, it's safe to say, and I've always wanted to say this, that this episode's gonna be burry exciting, isn't it?
No, stop. Huwag. Wait.
I love that phone brand.
Huawei.
All right, Huawei for everyone who
yeah.
didn't get that joke. So anyway,
Huwag. Wait. Okay, so terrible jokes aside, now I'm doing the terrible jokes. It's time to kick off the banter section.
nahawa
Come
ka na
on.
sa akin, Roy. So, okay. Anyway, for the banter section, as stated previously, we're gonna be telling you and giving you some tips on how to work during quarantine. So, first off is the most important piece of advice you could give someone working from home, and that is some advice for pacing yourself. So, Roy, what is the best piece of advice you could give to someone on how to pace themselves for working at home?
This comes from you, actually. Like what you said to me yesterday. Those deadlines, don't stress on them too much. Because if you still have a lot of time to go, you just have to pace yourself and just do it slowly and one at a time.
Yep.
Because I've been known to...
Yep.
you can just explain it to the audience.
All right. So basically, for those of you who are wondering what Roy's been going through, basically Roy's the type of person, like there are types of people like this, like who, as soon as an assessment is given, like for like our class, he immediately gets it done the same day it was given, or possibly like earlier, like within 2 days of it being given. Like that's how early he would normally get it done. Now, guilty as charged. I used to be like that as well. But the main difference is, I think, because of a friend of mine, shout out to our content manager, Sergey, he actually taught us,
Woo.
he actually taught me how to properly like manage my time. And he told me like, if the deadline's far away, you don't need to stress about it that early, because all that's gonna do is it's just going to frustrate you later on down the line. And to an extent, he does have a really good point, because I used to do things the way Roy would. I would actually like, for example, there would be a deadline on that same day for like a specific assessment. Like the deadline would be far away. Like, so what I would do is I would get it done, and then the next day when they would give another assessment, I'm like, okay, that seems fine, and I get it done. And then on the next day they would give another assessment, and I would end up getting frustrated, because the reason I get things done early is so that I can enjoy myself without really worrying about them. But there's also a drawback to that, and that's if you do just because you're done with one subjects, like
Doesn't mean that the other one is
Yep,
done.
it doesn't mean that you're not gonna receive any more work. So that's also one of the important reasons to pace yourself, so that you don't end up frustrating and burning yourself out on doing these type of things. Isn't that right, Roy?
Yeah, I mean, when I saw that Neo assessments list go from 7 assessments needed to be completed to 2 assessments. Yeah, yesterday. This was yesterday. I actually got, what do you call that?
Flustered?
I got happier.
Oh, you got happier.
That, wow. Wow, I could actually just breathe and watch those documentaries that I've been wanting.
Yeah, you could just
Yeah.
go on and watch those documentaries without like really worrying about it. So, anyway, discrepancy aside, Roy, I will just remind you there was a bit of discrepancy on your side, but it should be fine. So anyway, so aside from pacing yourself, like aside from that being really important, it's also a way to keep yourself mentally healthy as well. Because if you think about it, if you keep pushing yourself to keep doing work at an unreasonable pace, forgive my stuttering there, it's going to end up really just again frustrating you and
Burning you out.
really just burn you out
Burning
faster
you
than
out.
coal.
It's the same thing as what I said on the hobbies episode that we did. I don't know which episode it was, but it was a previous episode where I said that when I was designing UI, since it's my hobby, if I get tired of it, I would just take a break from it and come back after a few days when I feel the energy to do it again.
Dude, that's the healthiest thing you could do, just so you don't avoid, just so you can avoid like losing interest in the hobby. Because after all, if you do enjoy something, like you don't want to end up doing it too much, or else you'll like lose interest in that hobby. And honestly, that's like the one of the worst things that could possibly happen to you. Honestly, so everyone pays.
Yeah, I should really apply that mindset that I have on my hobbies to my actual schoolwork, so it doesn't really burn me out and just frustrate
Yep.
me.
So anyway, let's move on. So next is keeping a healthy sleep schedule. All right, this one is a little harder to do, but I can guarantee that it has really positive effects, especially mentally speaking. It's going to give you a lot of like benefits if you keep a healthy sleep schedule. All right, so so I did a bit of research on this one. The minimum amount of sleep the human brain requires in order to function at peak maximum efficiency, peak maximum efficiency.
It's peak strength, mind you.
Peak strength.
This is what peak performance
Yep.
looks like.
Is actually 6 hours, Roy. You need at least 6 hours of sleep to function correctly every day. So I've been trying to set myself a schedule, all right? Now, mind you, it's easier said than done because most people nowadays, especially during the quarantine, sleep at around 2 or 3 a.m. Like, it's just normal now since technically you don't have to worry about waking up early. If you have asynchronous classes, why bother sleeping early, right? But there's also a huge drawback to sleeping late. One is the day is a lot shorter. Like if you wake up at like 2 or 3 o'clock, your day is a lot shorter and you're gonna end up like reaching night a lot faster, and you're gonna find yourself like parang nabibitin ka, like you don't have enough time to do what you want, diba?
Yeah, like especially when going outside. Please do it responsibly, okay?
Yep.
Only go outside when you need to.
Yep.
When the curfew is around 10 p.m.
Yep, be really responsible about this because again, we're still in the midst of a pandemic, so everyone out there, stay safe and wash your hands, alright? Wash them hands.
Wash your hands.
Alright, so again, keeping a healthy sleeping schedule makes it so that your days are longer. You have more time to do what you want. That does include playing video games, drawing, or whatever hobby you want. And most importantly, you have more time for work. You have more time to do you have more time for things you need to actually do. The important stuff. I'm not really sure how to say it, but that's the best way to phrase it. So now here's some tips to maintain a healthy sleep schedule. One of the best ways to actually end up sleeping early is to stay active. Like I'm telling you guys, like get a bit of light exercise, even if it's a bit of jogging, a bit of home workouts here and there, some squats, push-ups.
Yeah.
Don't type.
Or if you have a video game that's designed for exercising, like I have Just Dance, you can also do that.
Yep, because if you're able to exert that energy you have, because usually the reason we end up staying late, like we're staying up late, is because we have
We're
too
still
much
energetic.
excess energy. So we need to find a way to release that outside of sitting down and like using our computers or looking at our phones, because that's not really exerting that energy. That's still sitting and it's just sort of building up in like your stomach or like your heart or something, at least for me. So this is one of the best tips of advice that I could give to people, and that is to legit exercise. Because legit, after you exercise, you'll feel much more refreshed, you'll feel much lighter, and you're going to find yourself ending up sleeping a lot earlier than you normally would. Another thing that you could do is to avoid sleeping like in the afternoons and like the mornings, because one big major factor that interrupts like our normal sleep schedule or from sleeping early is for the fact that we've slept a lot earlier before nighttime. And that usually means that because of that, we're already refreshed, like we still have all this energy. And unless we do something really exhausting, there's no way we're gonna fall asleep again that easily. Right, Roy?
Yeah, I can.
Actually, Roy, for the listeners at home, can you tell them your experience, especially your sleep patterns, like what you told me, I think yesterday?
You know, for a couple of days now, I've been sleeping at 10 and I've been waking up at 2.
All right.
That's become my schedule, and then in the afternoon I would sleep for a few hours, and then now I have those excess energy now.
Yep.
And then you have to you rinse that and repeat it.
It's just rinse and repeat until like you end up finding a solution to like this sleep schedule problem. But yeah, for all those of you with the similar problem to Roy, he ends up trying to sleep early, but he ends up waking up at like around 1 a.m. anyway. So it's kind of hard for him to like maintain a healthy sleep schedule. I think I gave him one piece of advice to help him negate that, but I don't think it's advice I should give here on the podcast. Since tech.
So don't.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
another piece.
It kind of worked for me though. So.
Yep.
But yeah, don't.
Yeah, and another thing, and the last most important piece of advice is to avoid caffeine at nighttime. That means soda, coffee, chocolate, pretty much anything that contains caffeine. Do not eat caffeine at night or don't consume it, because caffeine is one of the things that keep us awake at like in the mornings, That's in the mornings you would drink coffee to keep yourself going, but if you were to drink coffee at night, it's bound to keep you awake, and that's going to give you a harder time sleeping. All right. Now there's a lot. Now one can argue that the caffeine tolerance of other people isn't exactly the same, since there are people who drink like boatloads of coffee and end up sleeping the same time anyway, versus people who drink even just a sip of coffee and they end up being awake for 6 hours. Like caffeine tolerance is differing from person to person, but just see what works for you. That's what I say. Just see what works for you.
See what works for you, because in my case, sometimes coffee either wakes me up or I sleep within the next 3 hours anyway.
Yep, more or less that's what, because I think your coffee tolerance, well, not coffee tolerance, but rather caffeine tolerance is a lot higher than you think it is. And that's probably due in fact that you've probably drank a lot of coffee in the past, or your body's just used to it. Like it's just either or at this point, dude. All right, so
Yeah, like me with spicy food, I guess.
ooh, I love spicy food too, dude. But anyway,
Anyway.
as I mentioned earlier, keeping active and motivated is another way to also keep yourself productive during quarantine. Now, for the motivated part, one of the best ways to keep yourself motivated is again to pace yourself. But another helpful piece of advice is to make time for yourself. Like, take a break.
Take a break, play that game that you've wanted to play.
Do something you like, read a book, watch a movie, anything like that. Basically, it's all up to you. And finally, what I would recommend is to keep yourself motivated is to just, keep active. Jog, exercise, run up and down the stairs, do push-ups, and, take some time to like, take care of yourself, like take a bath, shave your beard. I know a lot of you out there have quarantine beards, but more or less just take some time to take care of yourself, bathe, make sure you're brushing your teeth or keeping yourself healthy, drink more water instead of soda, that works, that type of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, taking a bath, yeah, because especially in the pandemic. Come on.
In a pandemic, you need to bathe, or else you might end up with the disease. All right, so
It's not a disease, it's a virus.
I mean that's worse, but Okay, so anyway,
Anyway,
moving on to the tech section. Roy, what do you have for us today?
boop, boop. It's time to talk about APPS, apps
Yep.
to keep
Roy,
in touch with.
At this point, we should change the podcast name to Apps Talk, because we've been
App Talk.
talking about apps for like the past couple episodes.
Yeah, the only time we actually talked about tech was Wait, which episode
It
was
was
it?
around episode 6. Yeah, I think episode 6, I think.
Episode 6, yeah, where I talked about robots. And that's
Yeah,
it.
that's pretty much it. So anyway, if we're talking about apps to keep in touch with, there's this one game. I mean, I wouldn't really call it a game. It's more of like socializing software, kind of like
So, an experience.
an experience more or less. It's called VR Chat, all right, and it's available on Steam for free. But all you need to do is make an account on their dedicated website, and you're free to use the software however long you want. The thing about VR Chat is that basically you're allowed to go in as any avatar of your choosing. That means if you wanna play as like say a cardboard box man, an anime cat girl. Realistically, a lot of you are gonna pick that one. um, and then let's say an 8-ball man, which is my personal avatar, then you can go do that. You can basically be whoever you want. Like you can role play as a character, you can be yourself, like your real life persona. You could even, just put on like let's say a teacher like avatar and act like a teacher. Pretty much the whole world's your oyster. Like that entire world is like your oyster. You're free to do whatever you want in there. And the good thing is there are people there. Like the community is really, really friendly. Like what you can do is you can just walk up to someone, say hello, and they'll say hi back, and then they'll tell you about themselves, and you can tell them about yourselves, and just go back and forth.
Yeah, you can exchange life stories if you
Yep.
want to.
Actually, I want to tell you my experience with VR Chat because I used to play a lot of VR Chat. I think I have like over 10 or 11 hours in it. Back then, in VR Chat, I remember, for those of you who don't know, I used to play VR Chat a lot back in the day. So back then, I remember I met a guy called Master Iro, and basically that was his username. And for those of you who don't know, Master Iro is basically this like old man from Avatar, and like he had that same avatar from Avatar, as redundant as that sounds. And what he would do is he had a really point-on expression, and like what happened is like he would we started role playing a bit. He told me, "Do you know what happened to Zuko?" And I was like, "What happened to Zuko, Master Iroh?" And then he says his father did something to him no father should ever do. And of course I said, "Oh, he took away his Xbox." And what happened, like I think
Wow.
and I will say
Sad.
that's an achievement because I made him break character. That joke made him break character. He said, "No, that's not what happened." But yeah, more or less, this guy the guy I was talking to was actually from the UK. And we ended up like talking a bit about life in general. Like he said, in the UK, it's a lot easier for you to get a bus. And he asked me like, how is public transport here in the Philippines? And I told him it's a lot harder since like here in the Philippines, the bus stops we have are really disorganized, and it's harder for us to sort of catch a ride to where we need to go. And he told me, how bad is disorganized? Like that's one of the legit questions he asked me. And I told him it's so bad that we have to wake up at around 5 a.m. just to be able to get to our place of work on time. And then he says, does it really have to be 5 a.m.? And I told him it really depends on what time you have to go to work. But let's say you have to go to work at around 10:30. You have to wake up at around 5 a.m. and catch a bus, or else you're not gonna make it.
Like, even better, you have to say, if you don't get the bus by 6, you're going to be late.
Yep. That's basically what I told him. And like, especially if you live far away, dude, the hassle is real, alright? Okay, so Master Iroh, let's just call him that. Basically, he tells me, so yeah, I'm lucky enough to have I'm lucky that in my country our like public transport is like working, and it's actually good. Like he says that he says that at least like now he can appreciate that way more, because he said before if his bus is like even like 10 minutes late, he would start like getting all mopey about it. And I told him, dude, that's fine. Like different strokes for different folks. Basically, like it depends really where you live. For example, here our MRT, if it's 30 to 1 hour late, that's normal, right? That's completely normal.
Yeah,
But in the UK,
completely.
even if it's like 15 minutes late, that's unacceptable, dude. Like people will get upset.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched documentaries of the London Underground before.
Yep.
Before.
Before.
So yeah,
No mention of
Before.
your addiction to trains, Roy. So anyway,
it's not trains, it's planes.
both.
Get it correct.
Both.
Get it right.
I mean, if you think about it, planes are basically trains but for the sky. Right, brothers?
Not really. It's more of buses in the sky.
True. All right. So anyway, VR chat aside, yeah, just it's free. Go ahead, download VR chat, and yeah, you can go up ahead and like experience it for yourself. But do be warned though. Proceed with caution, especially late at night. There are a few questionable individuals with weird tastes out there that might put you off. I'm speaking from experience, unfortunately, but do proceed with caution. But
To proceed with caution.
most of the time, believe me, VR chat is a good place to be. It's a good place to meet new online friends and meet the community and like just enjoy yourself.
Just to remember that big asterisk that we talked about.
Yep. All right. So moving on from VR chat, of course.
We have Discord.
Yep. Everyone
We have Discord.
should know about Discord. All right. So for any oldies, sorry, that's not the right word to use, but for any people of the X and Boomer generation, I'm not sure really how to pronounce it, but yeah, the Boomer generation. Discord is essentially kind of like Skype, but a lot better than Skype. Like it's a less formal Skype basically, and Teams.
Anything is better than Skype.
Yep. Basically,
I mean, even Microsoft doesn't want Skype.
it kind of tells you the competence of Skype's developers. Oops. All right. That's my personal opinion. All right. So anyway, moving on. Discord is essentially this sort of like apps. It's like this type of communication app similar to Skype where you can call someone on it, you can have text chats on it, and you can have groups on it.
It's more similar to Messenger, but targeted to gamers, but not really at the same
Yep,
time.
it's targeted to everyone at that point because no.
Yeah, it's more pivoted to everyone, especially during the pandemic.
Yep, Roy, back then, you're right. It used to be targeted only for gamers, but now since like Discord has grown like a lot, it's now targeted to everyone. You can use it for class nowadays. Recommendation to any of you professors out there who are struggling with Zoom or Google Meet, you can always use Discord. And aside from that, they increased their member count.
Yeah. Discord can also. You can also use Discord as a backup.
Yep. And they've increased their limit from I think 50 to 100 members, so you can have up to 100 students in a single call. And the
How
good
many
thing
minutes?
about Discord is that it can actually like you can actually stream on it like you would normally inside of a voice chat. So that means you say one moment you're chatting with your friends and you want to show them something, but it's a little hard to describe. What you can do in voice chat is stream what your screen is showing them. Like what you want to show them. You can stream what you want to show them and it'll show them like your screen, like basically your mouse, everything. Basically streaming basically is what I'm trying to say. So
You know.
yeah.
You know how Discord has a light theme.
Oh, nobody uses the light theme. Word of advice for anyone who uses Discord: do not use the light theme. It is way too bright, and it's like having a flashbang thrown at you at like night. Please don't use the light theme. It's so hard on the eyes. But again, some people use the light theme, so again, it's all about personal preference.
And how good the dark theme is, because sometimes for accessibility purposes the dark theme is not as good as the light theme.
Yep. So moving.
Yeah, there are a lot of studies on that. So
Yeah, because
for UI designers,
dark theme.
no, keep in mind accessibility.
And aside from
Okay, so moving on.
moving on. Okay, moving on from Discord. We have another app here. It's called TeamSpeak. Oh, this one is so ancient. All right. Well, I wouldn't say ancient, but it's really old. All right. This thing, I'm not even sure a lot of people use this anymore. Or
I mean, isn't it paid? Isn't it a paid service?
it's only paid if you need to make your own server, but aside from that, not really. TeamSpeak is essentially similar to Discord, but instead of like having text channels, it's just voice chat. All right. Think of Messenger, but without the messages. It's legit just voice chat. That's what it is. Like you join a channel.
What about the video chat? I mean, it's self-explanatory anyway. There is video.
Yep, there is video chat as well. But
So basically, yeah, Messenger, but only it's call and video feature.
yep, it's only that basically. And it's a lot easier, like it's a lot more accessible because the UI is really simplistic and again, it's free. Everyone likes that price, free. All right. But in terms of usability, you're better off with Discord than TeamSpeak But if you like a more simplistic approach to like this type of stuff, then you should go with TeamSpeak. Because TeamSpeak is really, really accessible compared to Discord. Because with Discord, there's a lot of stuff you still have to mess around with before you can actually like be comfortable with what you want.
Light theme.
Yup, the light theme. And then the last
Light
one,
theme.
the biggest player among all of the things on our list, Messenger.
Is Messenger. Why? We don't need to explain what Messenger is. I mean,
Roy,
in hindsight, for a few minutes ago, we don't even need to talk about what Discord is.
Yup. But just for the sake of formality, Messenger is basically Facebook's like messaging app that's available on the iOS and the Play Store. iOS and the Play Store.
It's everywhere.
Yeah,
everywhere.
it's pretty much available
Everywhere.
at any platform. And let's be honest, it's basically a message. It's an app that allows you to message, to call, to video call, send images, basically
It's
that.
all free.
Yep.
It's all free.
And it's all free, dude. Like we don't need to explain
Yeah, the
Messenger
only price you
anymore.
have to pay is the Zup.
Yup.
But other than that,
Yep. And the fact that your
Yeah, it's all
conversations might not be private, but hey, that's the price you pay for efficiency. All right. So, moving on
Okay.
from that. All right. So, enough about the apps for now. Let's talk about something that really matters, Roy. And that is community involvement.
community involvement. Oh.
All right, Roy. So, one of the things that is one of the most painful things about the quarantine, especially like what happened this past 2 weeks, is definitely the typhoon that hit us. The two mega typhoons that hit us. And again, condolences and strength to you, whoever is going through like the damage and like the after effects of it. Stay strong because again, you're not alone in that endeavor. Everyone here is with you, and people will always stand. We will stand by you.
Yeah.
And
But at the same time, we need to help them as much as we can.
Yes.
Because
Words are empty.
it would be the same. It would be the same as going through vital workers and say, "Wow, you are our heroes,"
Yep.
but we're not actually doing anything
you have to support them.
to you. We're just we're just saying, "Oh, you're a hero."
In fact, it would be
Okay.
insulting to the people like who actually went through a typhoon if you're just saying, "Oh, I'm sending you blessings and prayers," but you don't do anything. That's the same thing as a this is an old meme, but there's this picture of a guy who's on fire, and then like a picture of a guy watering his flowers with a hose, and the guy basically turns to him and he says, my thoughts and prayers are with you. Like he has a hose that sprouts water, but he's not going to put out the guy on fire. He just says, my thoughts and prayers are with you. And basically, it's to that same effect. If we just if you keep telling that to the disaster victims, it's more insulting than actually helpful.
Well, enough of that aside.
Enough of that.
Let's actually talk about how you can help.
Yeah.
Especially
that's important. All right. Enough about that. Let's talk about how you, the viewer, can help. You who's listening to this podcast. About I think the 15 or 20 people listening to this podcast. All right. All right.
Yeah.
So.
There are only like how many viewers listening? Let's say around 20.
20.
Yeah. Hello, 20 people.
Yeah, 20 people who set aside what they're doing to watch this. Let's talk about helping online for disaster relief. So there are a lot of Facebook groups nowadays that basically aim to help and support typhoon victims, be it through relief efforts or just general awareness. And I've seen a lot of our old classmates from Don Bosco actually start joining these groups. And a few of them actually started making posters to raise awareness and for fundraising campaigns in order to help victims. So this is one of the things you can do to help out the disaster victims, which is you can go onto one of these websites, join them. Not websites, these Facebook groups. You can join them, and then you can help by either making a poster, you can help by being a volunteer, or just generally communicating with the group on what you could possibly do. Because
you could tell them that I would like to donate cash and some goods.
yeah, aside from donation, because sometimes people don't really have the actual resources to donate, especially because again the typhoon hit. What you can do is you can also help by raising awareness of the whole situation that's happening around, because it's not only enough to donate sometimes. Like yes, it's a good thing, but sometimes if people are left unaware, it won't reach them as easily. So it's also a good idea to raise awareness.
Especially for international endeavors as well.
Exactly, because
I mean, we could rely on other countries, but there are other people in other countries that are unaware as well.
and also
Aside from the passing
time for
mention
some
in
good
global
news. All right, time for some really good news. Again, we all know the typhoon was devastating, but here's some good news. Oh wait, no. There was this lady on Facebook that was like, basically, it's that lady. It's just to be specific, all right. So one of the things, what she actually got, I think, like she started helping more people out ever since that happened. Like it didn't demotivate her. She's still out there helping the typhoon victims and like causing a lot of good for a lot of the victims. And like there are even people who are joining her as volunteers to help the typhoon victims like get out of like flooded areas, providing them with food, water, new clothes, that type of stuff. And for me, it's a good thing because this person was able to motivate a whole lot of people and like the general community to act on like an oncoming disaster, dude. Like that in my opinion, it just showcases that it doesn't like it just takes one person acting, just one person to act, to inspire a lot of people to follow suit. So everyone, if you think that one little post you're gonna make, that one little post, that one little anything that you plan to do to help the disaster victims won't do anything, guess again, it can.
It can. All you have to, especially with the school-related, what do you call those? School-related events that does the same, that does just that, giving through giving stuff.
Yep.
For the victims. Disaster relief is a group effort after all.
Yep, disaster relief is a group effort. So, now another good thing about like these community groups is it's a really good way to connect with like-minded individuals, people who also want to reach out and help. And again, you might possibly make some new friends along the way. And a good thing about like doing this is you're building your connections with other people, so that in case you want to do another disaster hits, or let's hope not actually, in case something like this ever happens again, you can always like reach out. You can reach out to these people, and if they know any groups, or if you just want to help, or you need their help in order to aid your own project in the future. But again, let's hope this never happens again, because this was truly a tragedy.
But we all know realistically.
Yep. We live in the Pacific Ring of Fire.
No, it's not just that.
Yep.
We live in a typhoon-prone area anyway.
Yep. So basically,
It's bound to
basically
happen.
being submerged in water is our day-to-day life. We've gotten used to it.
But just because we're used to it doesn't mean that we shouldn't help.
Yep. Just because we're used to it doesn't mean we shouldn't do what we can to help. So again, it only takes one person doing one right thing for everyone to follow suit. One person, one action, one community.
One country.
All right, that got too commercially for my taste. Like,
We're not advertising a certain group.
yep,
Because
we're not.
there's too
We're
many
not.
of them.
I'm just saying the way I said it.
All we have to do though, all we have to say though, is we have to be careful on which donation program or drive that we're, giving our food supplies or our hard-earned money.
Yeah, watch out for that.
Because there are scams
Yep.
for that. There are scams
Yeah,
for those.
watch out for that, because there's a lot of like fake NGOs that actually end up stealing your money, like NPOs and stuff like that. So again, it doesn't hurt to do a little bit of background information, and in fact, check their portfolio. If one of the things they don't advertise in their page is their relief efforts, or at least any type of thing they've done, if you don't immediately see that on their front page, or when you scroll down a bit, that means the group is already shady, and you should start asking around.
Or if the group seems to mimic a big organization, You have to know that for big organizations or even small organizations, they would not use an individual's bank account.
Exactly.
It would be named to the organization itself.
Yep. In other words, they would not link you a bank account to an individual. They would give you an official one for the company itself.
Yeah, because it would be like a major bank, let's say BPI, and then a BPI representative giving you a bank account for a specific person and not through the bank. That's really suspicious, right?
It really is.
The same thing applies.
So anyway, moving on. I guess that's all we have for our podcast. We hope you listeners enjoy.
For the tech section.
Yeah, for our tech section.
Yes, we're not
may
done,
not be.
alright?
We're not going
Yeah.
anywhere just yet. All right. That's all we have for our section of the podcast. All right.
It's less tech and actually only 50% apps.
Yep.
So.
All right. So it's time to give the time,
Hey.
remaining time to AJ for the game section. So AJ, please take it away.
Take it away, AJ.
Thanks, guys. For today's episode of Tech Talk, we'll discuss something that is a very serious matter when it comes to the gaming community. No, we won't be analyzing games, and no, we're not analyzing designs for today. For today's episode, we'll be talking about friendship and how it affects us when we're in gaming or playing games. Alright, for this topic, I'll be talking about what to do when things get heated up while playing games and what to do when you do something that could hurt someone's feelings when playing a game. Okay, sometimes games can be hard. Games can be challenging. We have different co-op games like League of Legends, Valorant, Smite, CSGO, etc. These are some famous titles in which a lot of people love, play, and enjoy, especially with their friends. But this is also something that causes a problem to the gaming community, to personal life, to friendship. Most of the time, not all of our friends are skilled or really good or as good as us when playing games. When this happens, there are other people who actually get to hate their or take it personally against their friend and forget about their friendship when in game. And things get heated up. Slurs are said and different hurtful words are thrown out. This becomes problematic and has been a problem in games for several years ever since games started. Trash talking, harassment, and different types of abuse when it comes to words happen not just only here in the Philippines but in an international scale. So what can we do to do something or stop this type of occurrence? As a player or as a gamer with friends who trash talk or harass other friends, other players, they should keep in mind the people they talk to are also people who get hurt, who are actually trying, or some of them are playing the game in order to good at it. So let's not be the one to discourage them when they're doing bad. And let's tell our friends that they should keep their mouth shut if there won't be any good thing coming out from it. We should also be there to tell them what is wrong and cut them out if they don't listen and continue what they're doing. It is what's best for our mental health and well-being. Other than this, when we ourselves get heated up or get mad towards our friends because they're not reaching the expectations we have, we must remember that they're not us and we're not them. They may be enjoying the game with us, but it doesn't mean that they should be as good as us. We invited them or they invited us for one reason. We both enjoy the game and we want to play it. together as a team, as a family, as friends. And this is something that we should always keep in mind when playing games. And in Among Us, yeah, don't take it too personally. We shouldn't let games ruin our friendship. No matter how competitive it becomes, no matter how hard things get, and no matter how heated things could be. We should remember friendship is stronger than the games we play. Friends will remain forever by our sides, and games are there to help us bond with each other and not tear us apart. Games were made to be enjoyed and to be loved, not to be something to fight about or not something to use against other people. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoy this small talk regarding friendship and how games affect them. This is your host for Tech Talk, your game analyst, AJ. Thank you and have a safe day ahead of you. Thanks for listening, and I hope we'll see you again next time. Stay safe, gamers.
And that's it for the podcast. We hope you guys had fun.
And before we continue this outro, we'd like to thank Jared Hortaleza for giving the background music, as always.
And our wonderful staff here at the Tech Talk podcast.
And we hope, I'm delaying the outro here, but trust me, I'm building up drum here.
Alright.
We hope that you arm your Jose Marie-chan CD albums from your closet.
Yep. We hope you
I
are.
know I will.
This has been Tech Talk, and that's all we wrote. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.